Alright everyone, we are back with another Age of the Ring 9.0 beta cast, and we are on the North Undeep. On the upper left hand side we happen to have a Rohan played by FlameOfTheWest, going against an Isengard played by Old Nosey. So, I'm going to cover the usual. I'm going to say some stuff that we have already discussed and are adjusting, and then I'm going to talk about things that we have been working on for a little bit. So, usual beta casting stuff, and again, this is beta. Everything is not final. And lastly, when it comes to things that you may not see, you may not hear, odds are it's probably going to be looked at, so don't worry about that. And we have Old Nosey over here, starting with 4 farms. And we have FlameOfTheWest looking to be doing a 4-farm start with a draft tower. Okay, so draft towers have received a health nerf, they've received a build time change, and Rohan warriors are no longer in the draft tower itself. We have switched that out with the Riders of Snowborn, in which they are a unit that we had basically reworked. We made them more of a shock troop, so you'll see that in this game and how that lines up. And in addition to the draft tower changes, we've also nerfed the peasant summon. That was an obvious oversight from the current patch. And Old Nosey over here, starting with the Warg Riders. One of the changes we made for Isengard is increasing the cost of the Warg Riders by 25. Simply, Isengard's economy, allows for it. It's a very efficient faction. They have a very strong economy, so we saw it as reasonable with the need delay fix error. And again, the Riders of Snowborn are on their way, and we happen to have Flame going for Yeoman Archers on the opener. And Nosey over here, opening with the Wildman Pikes to do some creeping. And what else is Flame up to? Nothing yet. So again, all cavalry have received damage nerf. And here we go, we have the reworked Riders of Snowborn. And on the initial impact for the target, Riders of Snowborn have a passive called Thunderous Charge, where after the initial impact, the bonus damage is gone, and they have to wait for the lances to recharge. Now this recharge time is changing, it's not staying at 5 seconds. We're doing a different value for that. And already we have the Riders of Snowborn going back. So again, this unit's been pretty fun to test with the rework, but again, I do want to say that the unit will not be keeping that 5-second recharge period. And Lone Scout combo coming in here for Flame. Nosey on the creep. Okay, Snowborn moving away. In addition, Riders of Snowborn also have great axes, in which when they do that, they lose the ability to trample, but they can brawl with infantry, being able to tank tier 1 in mid-game, not necessarily mid-game, but they can at least put up somewhat of a fight, act as a frontline assist for Rohan's mid and late game. We're basically looking to have them be, again, a shock troop for the faction. It's a little bit different than what you've seen before, I would say, in some of the factions. I would say most of the factions don't have a similar troop to that. There's no real comparison in the mod with this rework. Looks like Nosey's trying to go north with that group. And Flame's about to hit again. But yes, the Thunderous Charge impact does work on Structure Harass as well. But again, the recharge time is the main thing here. That is not staying. That's been changed. We have another farm coming in for Flame. So So yeah, they're still going to be kind of anti-cavalry. They're going to be able to do the frontline fighting, but again, when they do switch over to the great axes, they happen to lose the ability to trample, but they just become proficient in the melee combat. We wanted to kind of give the Snowborn a little bit more of a unique identity. See what else is Isengard doing right now. They got the Uruk pit up and running, of course. Big change with Isengard is for Berserkers. We have increased their base cost. We have also taken some of their stat power and locked it behind their upgrades, so you have to invest more at face value to get their original stat values back, and we have messed around with the cost of some of those upgrades. Just so it requires a bit more effort on the Berserker gameplay. Let's take a look at spellbooks. So Rohan's got 4, Isengard's got 5 power points, 600 CP to 600 CP. And these boys are also rather beefy, of course, but they're more beefy in the Great Axe purchase. Nosey with the wall hub for the defense. Now, one of the big things here, again, I mentioned before in previous casts, is heroics. We have reviewed every single heroic. We've adjusted stats. We've given them more models in the battalion size, which has fixed the targeting issues pretty much. And we have rearranged some levels in which their abilities had required. Given the nature of heroics, we do want them to participate more in gameplay. That's specifically in 8.3.1, the Grey Company were a pretty overtuned heroic for sure, so we have definitely tuned them down, and every other heroic has had their respective adjustments positively for the most part. So yeah, these guys are good at structure harass, they're good at chasing down heroes, they're good at chasing down monsters, and they're good at the melee combat. There's just trade-offs to using them, very engaging unit, and it's been pretty cool to see so far in testing. Okay, power points are equal, 775 CP to 600, so Flame is expanding pretty well. And we happen to have Sharko on the field, so a big change here for mounted heroes is that some mounted heroes had cooldown checks like every other hero just about for the most part, that we felt like they could use a cooldown adjustment on their abilities. Alongside mounted heroes having a damage pass, so they'll have a certain amount of a structure scaler based on their baseline damage when mounted, just to make mounted hero harass less efficient and less silly to kind of deal with in the average game. Looks like Rohan's kind of got to figure out what they're doing here. They got a lot scattered. One thing we've done is simply reduce the armor and damage value from Maneater, alongside changing the heal restore value. So it's going to be, I believe we're changing it to 30% from 50%. That's another thing, and from there it's going to be pretty decent. I can't recall if we adjusted the cooldown at the same time, but yeah. Alright, over here with Erkenbrand for Rohan, we have taken away the Fear and Terror resistance on Erkenbrand's horn. Rohan had an abundance of Fear and Terror resistance sources, and we didn't feel like Erkenbrand needed it. In addition, we have lowered the speed modifier on Gilded Horn from 20% to 10%. What's happening here? We got the Riders of Snowborn. See if I can actually see what the health is like here. He's got the lone scout here trying to support. Looks like the lances fell off though, and you can tell lances fell off when you don't hear the SFX anymore. Again, industry as a reminder, both slaves unearned and industry have been nerfed to 200%. And Flame's already going for the west folders in the draft tower. Snowborn trying to make their way out the back end. Is he going to switch them to axes? I am not sure. It doesn't look like he is. A particular change we made with trying to work with horse archers more is that we've changed the muster the Rohirrim upgrade reward for horse archers to heavy armor and horse shields away from fire arrows, just to allow the archery range to have that relevance. And Flame over here is going for the barracks and a stables right now. Erkenbrand trying to catch up. So yeah, it's proving to show right now with Snowborn, if you're really good at microing them and keeping them alive, they're going to provide pretty decent value for you. Sharker's going back to the base. So we've got Wolfgar here. For Wolfgar, he was one of the heroes that wasn't really seen too often compared to other heroes in the mod. It was very heavy on the Uruk meta. So we have adjusted his experience tier down by 1, but we've also looked to buff the Crow Banner debuff radius because it happened to have actually been impossible to get value from that. Looking at the debuff radius itself, it was not that much. So we have adjusted that. And again, look at these new West Folder models in game. Looks pretty good. We happen to have a level 2 stables coming in, so maybe Flame's going to start making some horse archers. Horse archers have received a lot of attention. It's a very tricky unit to get right because any slight number adjustment ends up putting them over the top or underperforming, and we've seen that in several betas now where, you know, again, simple tweaks really do make a difference, and I think a lot of people don't really notice that. See, what is Rohan doing? Need to see Flame go for some tech options. He's going for the horse archers, which is great. So they've received several buffs, but we're also at a point where they've received several nerfs in testing. And we're trying to see how they kind of line up, just because we want them to be pretty good against heroes. And on the live version, they suffered from heroes the most, just being as squishy as they were, so we buffed their hero armor. And again, we in general have changed around their stats quite a bit during testing just to make sure that they are not over the top. And Erkenbrand over here, looks like Snowborn are on top of Wolfgar. Erkenbrand goes down. Are the Snowborn going to get Wolfgar though? Nosey might get out just in time. Who's this hero? We got Grima Wormtongue. So Grima has not received any changes. He's been perfectly fine to us. And we haven't felt the need to buff him or nerf him in any way outside of general hero nerfs. Looks like Nosey's going up for the level 2 longhouse right now. So yeah, one thing that we've noticed in testing after dialing back the rate of fire, on live they have a quicker rate of fire, but in testing it's proven to be rather harsh on them to give them a lower rate of fire. So we're kind of trying to play around with the right number just so that they do better versus infantry, but they're not nuking heroes and dropping them immediately, which was the case pretty often in testing. Is that they were too efficient at hero killing with the scalar value they had. We have Rohan over here going for Bountiful Harvest. This is like Flame's, day 1 pick. It saves him in many cases. needs to get them back towards like a well, just replenish. We're definitely reviewing Urk pikes alongside Urk swords, just because it feels like in the average game for Isengard, everyone spams Urk pikes and berserkers unless fighting Urukai, which does not make a lot of sense to us, so we're taking a close look at that. And again, we have already adjusted berserkers themselves so that their stats are kind of locked behind the upgrades a bit. A little bit of a tight defense here by Flame. Not going to work out too well, I think. Second longhouse coming in for old Nosey. Again, he's got the build me an army. It's going to supplement his elite pikes, so it's going to be very efficient for him. Lances are recharging. Models are replenishing by themselves because of level 2. Looks like old Nosey's going for Burning Forges. I think that's the Burning Forges thing on the fort for the upgrade discount. Very clean. Okay, 775 CP for Rohan, 650 for Isengard. Flame's moving on out. No Erkenbrand, so it's a little bit risky here for Flame, not having that support for the West folders. We'll see how it goes. We do happen to have Isengard with a total of 3 heroes at least. I think I think it's just 2 now because Wolfguard died, so just 2 heroes on the field. But yeah, as I said, Urk pikes are tanking the horse archers quite well, which is why I've mentioned we are reviewing Urk pikes slightly. Because there are some cases where some pikes are very efficient, and some cases where some pikes are not efficient enough, so we're looking at pikes kind of across the board as we go. And again, I guess this is with heavy armor, so that's one thing to keep in mind. The efficiency here of building an army, allowing that to happen for the Isengard player. Elf Helm's on the field. And it looks like old Nosey's trying to push up. He's got Huskarls out here. So yeah, no real changes to the Dunnish side of the faction. It's really just a focus on looking at the Uruk parts that are overperforming and seeing how the Dunnish play out. Oh, he's got to be careful. Yikes. That's not going to be good. That's not going to be good. Flame, what are you doing? Looks like Elfhelm's actually having issues with like chasing and attacking. That's weird. Alright, next hero. So Erkenbrand is back for Flame. And who do we have here? There's a hero out. Wolfgar is back, okay. Yeah, so pretty much right now, Flame's kind of screwed if he doesn't deal with this Uruk and Dunnish Axeman clump. He's walking himself right into it, a little bit rough there for him. He's got to get away from that. Looks like he's pulling back towards the base. Grima just farming yeoman pikes. Oof. Erkenbrand just chilling there. Not a good sign for Flame. Just leave him by the fort. Again, we have these Snowborn on the flank trying to cover anything retreating at the moment. Hoping he'll put them in axe formation, but it doesn't look like he's going to right now. Keeping the archers by the well is great for Flame, though, on the other hand, right now. Looks like Wolfgar might get caught. Nope, he's good. Oh, yikes, Flame. Gotta be careful with that control, man. Gotta be careful. Oh, Radha Gahad just dropped right here. Okay. Ah, that's not a good sign. Flame's lost most of his army at this point. Okay, Elfhelm's level 4. Not a good sign. We do have the Dunnish Outriders on the field here for Nosey at this point. Only level 1 on this longhouse. And it looks like Flame has picked up Theodred. Yeah, so again, Huskarl is very beefy, semi-heroic unit. So it's something that people often underlook on the roster for Isengard. But in testing, we have actually found that decreasing their limit alongside Manslayers from 3 to 2 is quite a decent thing to do, given their stats and performance right now in testing. Okay. So again, like I said, with the industry powers both being at 200%, it's taking a little bit longer to get the economy gain and to power level your forges, and Nosey does have the 35% upgrade discount. Theodred being here, though, means that the Snowborn will eventually have his leadership support. Ooh, he's got to be careful, though, not to lose Theodred, because Urkpegs are coming right in the back. Okay, 8 points here for Isengard, 1,000 in the bank for CP, and 700 CP, and 19 points for Rohan. I think he's gonna say, yeah, he's gonna save Wolfgar. Okay, thought he might have had a chance to lose him real quick if he didn't do anything. Another thing we did with Rohan is that we did buff the HP of Door Wardens, so they're at 390 now. Right over here, Dunnish Outriders getting swept up by the Snowborn. We got the Lone Scout support as well. A big change we actually made here for Uruk-hai Shield Bearers is that their armor bonus is now just there passively. You no longer have to toggle to achieve the armor bonus value. It's a quality of life change for sure. And again, it does buff all friendly units, so it is support for the Dunnish side of the faction when you think about it. And as I said, mounted heroes are getting their respective damage nerfs. They're going to be getting overall structure scalers depending on their baseline damage when mounted. Do we have Huskarls over here on the windmill? Okay, but Isengard's definitely closing in here on Flame. And again, Manslayers. Oddly enough, in testing, these guys have proven to be kind of correct. And it's been something where when we were reviewing their stat line, we were like, okay, what do we do besides like stats? But all we had to do was just move 2 abilities forward, and that was it. That's much of the Ents. This power is this one's an interesting one to try to work with. We are thinking of ways to improve it. But we are, again, waiting to see how things play out. And I think, honestly, right here in this game, Flame could just like put it closer towards the fort. You can tell Nosey's got heavy armor, though, so it would not really do a whole lot of damage here. And as I said, the Door Wardens have been buffed with the plus 10 HP. Another thing, as I mentioned before, the fighting Uruk-hai will be getting an HP buff. Looks like Isengard is 4 points away from pivoting in the spell book to get some more opportunities. I could do it right now, but I'm not sure why he hasn't. Now, horse archers, they do benefit tremendously from modifier gameplay, which is why we have to be very careful with them in testing. We've had a lot of good stress testing with the unit, so we know we know pretty much what is too far and what is not feeling so good. And again, as I said before, the rate of fire change on the horse archer battalion has had the most impact, so we're dialing that back slightly. Looks like Isengard's trying to push on Rohan over here. And Saruman is on the field. Okay, so for Saruman, we're taking a look at his cooldowns. We made some adjustments because they do come back quite fast for what they are. We've done the same with Gandalf, so they've had increased cooldowns. The main thing that we see all the time with Saruman is notably the fact that people end up walking around and trying to hold out till his cooldowns come back. And that does lead to frustrating gameplay because you've got, Wizard's Blast, you got Fireball, and you've got Redhorn's Wrath. And with the current cooldowns, we saw it reasonable to increase it overall. Manslayers are going to go down here. Looks like Saruman's going to get out. Yeah. Is he going to? Yeah, I think he's going to get out. Yep, he's good. Oh man, look at old Nosey here with the works entries and tower around his forge. Another thing we did real quick here is that we have increased the cost of the works entry to 400. So it's no longer a 350 and easily spammable and early point. We do happen to see fire arrows on the horse archer battalion right now. And again, as I said, AotR is another one of those mounted heroes getting a structure scaler. So you're going to see less mounted hero value in version 9.0 for harass. You're going to need some more support on the unit side. Let's see what level is Elfhelm. He's level 8, so he's got the leadership, the 15% range, and 33% damage. And yeah, again, it's like stuff like this that kind of allows you to kind of know that mounted heroes get too easy for the value points, and that's why we're adjusting the mounted hero damage. Of course, keep in mind what you're seeing here. They currently do not have the scalers, but they will be getting the scalers. Okay, so alerts on the field. We have made several changes to alerts. Alerts is a very dominating hero in the faction. He kind of does everything. We've increased his price slightly. We have split his leadership, so he doesn't have everything at level 1, but he gets 32% armor at 1 and the damage at 4. We have also increased the level requirement of the cripple from 4 to 5, and we are making another change on the cripple with the overall hero changes. We're decreasing the casting range of said cripple. So that's another thing to keep in mind, because again, with all the hero changes we're doing, certain abilities like that are going to be pretty nasty. So we don't want them to be completely dominant in gameplay, but have the player again rely on the units over going for the hero that can do everything. Okay, let's see what level is Saruman. Saruman's level 4. Right now, Nosey's got the Courier bonus for Dunish on the fort, which I think is an armor bonus and a cost decrease on Dunish. Yeah, that's what it is.
Royal Guardsmen, here to shield the king.
Looks like right now we're waiting for Saruman's Wizard's Blast to come back before he turns around almost. He might get level 7. He's close to level 7 here. We got the Fireball going back again. Like I said, Horse Archers did get a survivability buff from heroes, but when it comes to certain stuff like magic-based powers and or siege, I can't recall the exact damage value that fireballs give, but I believe you have to ask old Nosey that question. I just know that it's a different damage type, which is why they deal a lot of damage. Let's see, what is Saruman doing over here? He's got Wizard's Blast off cooldown. He could use it. Looks like he's trying to regroup. What's happening here? And Wolfgar's Krebine are trying to chase Éomer, it looks like. Oh. Oh, man. Okay, so Theodred just got knocked back by the Red Horn's Wrath. And then we had Mordau Grip just completely nuke Theodred there, and Flame calls it GG. But yeah, like I said, there's many changes being covered here, notably with Archer heroes outside alerts. They are getting their respective adjustments. So again, if you have questions, feel free to ask, comment on the video. But overall, like I said, we are looking at everything that we possibly can just to continue making the balance better in the post-delay fix era of Age of the Ring. And again, thank you all for joining us for this beta cast number 4 for version 9.0. Thank you.